In our previous class, we have started with the generations of computers. In that, we have completed first generation, its important features, and second generation, its important features. And today's data we will start with the continuation, that is third generation of computers. The third generation computers were developed between 1965 to 1970 and were built with integrated circuit. In short, it is called as IC. Here IC stands for integrated circuit. These computers were developed in between 1965 to 1970. After the development of an electronic component called as IC, we have developed third generation computers. And the speed was 10 to the power minus 9 seconds. It means the speed of these third generation computers were in nanoseconds, that is 10 to the power minus 9 seconds. And this important component IC was developed by Jack Kilby, an engineer with the Texas Instruments in the year 1958. That's why I told you that after the development of a new component called as integrated circuit, we have used that in the third generation. It means we have replaced the transistor by this IC. Computers were faster, more powerful, cheaper, and smaller in overall size. Means the development of a new component in electronics field, that is integrated circuit, was developed by Jack Kilby in the year 1958. So that we have used in computers manufacturing. Such computers are called as third generation computers. The computers which uses IC as one of the main components, then that is the third generation computer. These computers were developed between 1965 to 1970. Due to the use of these IC in the computers, the speed was increased and the power of the computer increases, the cost reduces, as well as the size of the computer reduces. Then next, the important features of the third generation computers are: first one, these third generation computers are used for commercial applications. Integrated circuits were used for internal operations. It means these third generation computers were started using for commerce purpose, commercial purpose. And to perform the internal operations, we are using IC. ICs are used for performing internal operations. This is the first important feature of third generation. Then one more most important feature is mini computers were introduced. It means the next type of computers were introduced with the help of this third generation computers. They are called as mini computers. In the later classes, we are studying about this in detail. Right now, the name is enough, that is mini computers were introduced. So the next feature is maintenance cost was low as hardware failures were rare. If you compare the first and second generation of computers, the third generation computer hardware were perfect. The failures are less. They are working properly. That's why the maintenance cost will be reduced in the third generation of computers. And the last feature about third generation is computers were totally general purpose. Computers were totally general purpose. We are stressing here these computers are used for general purpose. Last point. So first generation was exclusively used by the electronics peoples. Next generation, slowly the peoples involved in computer science, they have started using that. But the third generation is exclusively meant for general purpose. Anybody can use these third generation computers. Then the examples are the IBM system /360, UNIVAC 1108 or 9000, then CDC 6600, Cyber 175, etc. These are the examples of third generation computers. It means after the development of a component called as integrated circuits, we got the better computer comparing to first and second generation, and also the size was enormously reduced. Due to that, the mini computers are introduced, and the overall maintenance cost of these computers were reduced because of less hardware failures or rare hardware failures of third generation computers. And basically these are used for commercial application purpose. These are all about the features of third generation computers. Next, fourth generation computers. The fourth generation computers were developed between 1970 to 1990 and were built with LSIC, that is large scale integration or integrated circuits, and by 1980 VLSI, that is very large scale integration, then ULSI, that is ultra large scale integrations, finally the microprocessor were used. The fourth generation computers were developed between 2 decades, that is right from 1970 to 1990. In this period, we have used different technologies here, different components, that is, we started with the third generation IC that has been improved, and we call it as by 1980 we have started using the LSICs, that is large scale integrated circuits integrations, and very large scale integrated circuits, and ultra large scale integrations were used by 1980. But finally we have used a microprocessor. It means the fourth generation computers were built with a microprocessor. It means these are microprocessor based computers. The fourth generation computers are microprocessor based computers. They have huge storage capacity, and their processing speed is from 10 to the power minus 9 to 10 to the power minus 12 seconds. It means the storage capacity of these fourth generation computers were very large. A huge amount of storage capacity it has comparing to its predecessors, that is first, second, third generation computers. And the processing speed also improved right from nanosecond to picosecond, that is 10 to the power minus 9 second to 10 to the power minus 12 seconds. And the development of fourth generation computer has given us one more concept called as networking was introduced. With the development of fourth generation computer, the concept of networking has started. The interconnection connecting the computers. One computer is connected to some other computers. That concept was started in 4 generations of computers. The important features of 4th generation computers are, the first one is called as introduction of microprocessor. It means after the invention of that integrated circuit that was slowly developed in a stage by stage. Initially they started with IC, then that has been improved to large scale integration. Then again further improvement, that is very large scale integration. And next level is ultra large scale integration is done. And finally we are stick with a microprocessor. When the microprocessor was developed, by using that microprocessor, we have developed the computers. That computers we have called it as 4th generation computer. That's why we are saying that it's one of the important features of 4th generation. It means introduction of microprocessors. Then the second feature is use of chips for memory. In the 4th generation computer, we have started using again the integrated circuits. They are called as chips. Microprocessor chips are used for storing our data and instructions. It means the chips are used for storage in the 4th generation of computers. And next feature is hardware failures were negligible. Hardware failures were negligible. As we have seen in the 3rd generation computers, hardware failures are rare. That's why the maintenance cost was reduced. In the 4th generation also, the improvement is done again in concern with the hardware failures. Here also, the hardware failures are negligible. Right? We cannot count smaller percentage. Due to that, again, the maintenance cost is here also reduced. The next point is easily portable due to its size. Even the introduction of integrated circuits in the 3rd generation itself, the size was reduced enormously, and the new type of computer, that is mini computers, were introduced. Now in the 4th generation again, the improved IC, that is microprocessor, were used in the 4th generation computer. Due to that, the size was reduced enormously. Due to that reason, the portable computers were developed. Due to that, you can easily carry that computers from one place to another place. Due to its size, the reduction in the size, we call the portable computer that can be carried from one place to another place very easily. That's why easily portable due to its size. Because of its size, it can be taken or carried from one position to one place to another place very easily. And the last important feature is cost of the system reduced. Cost of the system reduced. Comparing to the previous generation computers. If you are observing here, right from 1st generation to this 4th generation, the technology is improving day by day. We are getting a new generations of computers, but the cost of that computers are reducing from generation to generations. 1st generation computers were very expensive comparing to 2nd generations. 2nd generation computers are cheaper comparing to 1st generation computers. When you compare with the 4th generation computer with its predecessors, the cost was reduced enormously. That's why the last important feature in the 4th generation computers, we are saying that the cost of the system is reduced. The examples of 4th generation computers were IBM's 3033 and HP's 3000. That is nothing but a mini computers, HP's. Then Cyber 205 and all nowadays modern PCs comes under 4th generation computers. It means today whatever the computer we are using, there is nothing but you can say that it is a 4th generation computer. So it means after the development of IC in the 3rd generation, that has been improved to develop the 4th generation computer. Initially we started with large scale integrations, then very large scale integrations by 1980, then ultra large scale integrations. Finally, we have stuck with a microprocessor. This is the latest component in the field of electronics that we have used in development of computers. Then such computers we call it as 4th generation computers. Due to the use of microprocessors in the computer, the size was reduced enormously, cost was reduced, and the speed was improved. And for storage, we have used the memory chips. And these computers are easily portable from one place to another place due to its smaller in size. This is about the 4th generation of computers. Then we move on to the last generation, that is the 5th generation computers. The development of supercomputers. This is one type of computer. Details about this again we are studying in the next class. So the development of supercomputer was the main motivation of the 5th generation computers. It means in the 5th generation we are using supercomputers. The main motivation behind the 5th generation is the development of supercomputer is the main motivation for the development of 5th generation computers. These are knowledge processing systems. 5th generation computers are knowledge based systems. That's why they were calling it as these are knowledge processing systems. And thus the concepts like AI, that is artificial intelligence, and distributed processing were incorporated. And these two concepts were used. That is, one is artificial intelligence is used and distributed processing also used in these computers. The artificial intelligence is not before different from that of human intelligence, and we use stored reservoirs of knowledge to make judgments and decisions. With the introduction of this artificial intelligence in computers, the computers are not far away from the human intelligence. Right? They are just like working like a human beings. They are using just like human intelligence, are using that with the help of the knowledge stored in that computers, and with the help of that intelligence, that computers can take or make a good judgments and decisions. It means the knowledge or expert systems are developed, or decision making systems are developed, right? Just like you can say that robots are the best example for these computers, right? So It means after the development of supercomputer, we got one more generation computer that we called as the fifth generation computers. It means that development of supercomputer was the main motivation for the development of this fifth generation computers. When the fifth generation computers, we are using the artificial intelligence concept as well as the distributed data processing concepts were used in this. And when you concern with the artificial intelligence, the intelligence of humans is not away from the computer intelligence, because the knowledge, complete knowledge, the intelligence knowledge that required for the machine is stored in that. With the help of that stored knowledge, that computer can take the best decisions. It means the development of decision-making systems or expert systems are evolved with the fifth generation computer. Even you can say that the robotics are started from here. Then the important features of fifth generation computers are the first one is development of storage technology. As you have seen in the fourth generation, chips were used for storage that has been improved, right? The major storage technologies developed in the fifth generations. Then in the fourth generation, we have introduced the concept of networking, but the advanced stage has reached in the fifth generation. That's why I'm saying that advancement in networking technologies. It means a lot of things have been improved in the field of networking technologies in the fifth generations. The next feature is the concept of parallel processing in computers. With the use of more than one processor can be used in the systems so that you can process parallel. Normally, a system will use one microprocessor per system, but in some system you can use more than one microprocessor. So, with the help of that, you can process parallel. That concept was built in fifth generations. And the next feature is computers are more intelligent. As I discussed in the introduction part of fifth generation, that the human intelligence is equal to fifth generation intelligence. It means the knowledge, complete knowledge is stored in fifth generation. Just like robots, right? These computers' intelligence are almost equal to the human being intelligence. That's why these are more intelligent comparing to any other generation computers. And the development of robots to assist human beings. With the help of the concept that is artificial intelligence, the robots were developed and expert systems were developed to help the human beings in taking decisions and judgments. Example, Cray machine that was developed by Japan, and Param 10,000, this was developed by India. The first Indian supercomputer is Param 10,000. It means the fifth generation computer, the main motivation for the fifth generation computer was the development of supercomputer. Then in that supercomputer, we have used the concept of artificial intelligence and distributed data processing. Then it becomes more intelligent system. right? When it becomes more intelligent system, then we have started updating the storage technologies in that. Then we have updated the networking concepts. The robotics were developed to help the human beings. The Indian supercomputer is Param 10,000. This is all about the generations of computers. So in the today's class, we have started with third generation, then fourth generation and fifth generations, right? So just we'll revive this once again, and so that in the next class we can go with the next topic called as, that is the types of computer in the next class. So we will revive now that the generation of computer. For exam point of view also, this is very important for extra questions as well as for 1 mark questions. So keeping in that mind, we will revise this once again, right? So the generations of computers was based on technology and architectural development of computers. We have total 5 generations of computers, and then the first generation computers were developed between 1946 to 1956, and in this we are using vacuum tube as one of the main component. And to develop the first generation computer, it required around 18,000 vacuum tubes and 70,000 resistors and 5 million soldered joints were used. And this computer requires around 160,000 watts of power is required to switch on this computer, and the processing speed of this is in milliseconds, that is 10 to the power minus 3 seconds. When you check out the important features of this, the vacuum tube was the only component available in that time to develop these computers. That's why you have developed the first generation computer by using vacuum tubes. Due to that, we got a heat problem. To solve that, again, the maintenance is required for that, so that you can go for cooling process. And for input-output operation, like nowadays we are using different devices like keyboard, mouse, but in the first generation, punching cards were used to perform input-output operations. The punching cards are nothing but a hard paper sheet. On that sheet, you have to make a punchings for inputs and provide that in an order to the computers. And in the first generation, the only language available for programming was the low-level language, or it is also called as machine language. It means the computer understands only the machine language, that is binary numbers, that is 0 and 1. By using the combination of 0s and 1s, the programming was done in the first generation of computers. And when you compare the first generation with the future generation of computers, the processing speed was very slow, and even the size was very large, and even the cost of these computers are more expensive comparing to the second, third, fourth and fifth generation computers. And the best example of this is ENIAC, that is our first electronic computer, that is ENIAC, Electronic Numerical Integrator and Calculator of Computers. Then after this, we have completed the second generation of computers. In this, we have used transistor as the main component, because during the first generation of computers, the electronics people have done one more component called as transistor. that can be used to develop a computer. So in the second generation, we have replaced transistors, right? We replace that vacuum tubes by using transistors. Then we call it as second generation computers, and these were built between 1957 to 1964. Due to that, the introduction of transistors in the development of computers, the size and is small compared to first generation, and these are faster comparing to first generation. Even the speed of the computer has improved up to 10 to the power minus 6 per second. And for memory purpose, we have started using magnetic disks to store permanently, and even in the software side also, we have made changes in the second generation. That is, in the first generation, for programming purpose, we use only low-level language, the machine language. But the second generation, we have started using high-level language because that was developed by this time. The high-level programming was used in the second generation of computers, and these are cheaper comparing to first generation computers. And the example of second generation computers are IBM's 1401 and Honeywell 400. Then in the third generation, during the usage of that second generation computers, the electronics people have developed one more component. Using that, you can develop a computer that is nothing but integrated circuit. It means the connecting wires are not required. It's a microscopic device, right? Component. In microscope only you can observe the circuitries. So small component, that integrated circuit, a small chip. That chip circuit can be, that is interconnected. The circuit can be observed by using a microscope. So small device was developed. By using such a device, we have developed the third generation computers. With the help of that, the size was reduced enormously and the speed was improved, right? And this IC was developed in the year 1958. That we are using the development of third generation of computers during 1965 to 1970. And this IC was developed by an engineer called Jack Kilby when he was working with Texas Instruments. And the invention of mini computers were done in the third generation computers, and even the maintenance cost was reduced because the hardware failures in the third generations are rare, and these third generation computers were totally used for general purpose. And the examples of this is IBM Systems 360. And in the fourth generation, nothing is new, only the improvement of ICS taken place in the development of fourth generation computer. That is, these computers were developed in between 1970 to 1990. In this period, we have changed step by step. Initially, we started with the large-scale integration process, and by 1980, very large-scale integration process we started. Then ultra-large-scale integration process we started. At the end, finally, we have used or developed a microprocessor by using the basic concept IC. By using that microprocessor, we have developed a computer. Then we have called it as fourth generation computers. Due to the introduction of microprocessor in the computer as a main component, the speed was improved. That is, right from nanosecond to picoseconds. That is 10 to the power minus 9 to 10 to the power minus 12 seconds. And even the networking concept was introduced in this period, that is fourth generation, right? And in this generation, we have started using chips for storage, and hardware failures are negligible. Due to that, the maintenance cost was reduced. And these computers are portable computers, so that you can carry the computers from one place to another place, right? And if you concentrate on the cost factor also, cost was reduced enormously compared to its previous generation computers. and HP has introduced its mini computers in this generation. And in the fifth generation, the motivation for fifth generation computer is the development of supercomputer was the motivation for the fifth generation computers, and the concepts of artificial intelligence and distributed data processing were used in this. Due to that, the knowledge of this computer is equal to, or the intelligence of this computer is equal to human beings, so that these computers are more intelligent computers, and the development of robots as used in the fifth generation computers, so that using robots, the human beings can take work from that, right? It means robots are assisting the human beings in this, and the crane machine, that is supercomputer, that was developed by Japan, and Paran 10,000, that was developed by India. So this is about the 5 generations of computers. If you have any doubt concerning the generations of computers, don't hesitate to put the questions in the webinar forum so that you will get the answers from me. Thank you, Anil.